Let's call this meeting to order, the Warsaw Redevelopment Commission. We'll start off the meeting as normal. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you, guys. We'll make we have, everyone, all the voting members are here. Brad is off down south. All the meetings are, all the members are here to vote, so welcome. And we'll start off with the approval of the minutes from the last meeting. I assume you guys had a chance to look those over.
Yep.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, Bill has made a motion to approve. Mike has seconded on that. All in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now, new business. Public hearing for the resolution, right?
Yeah, so you have resolution 2025-1201. This resolution is for purchasing the bulk parking lot. So you need to open it up for a public hearing. For anybody willing to speak for or against it, then close it, and then you can approve this resolution, which will allow us to acquire that piece of property. This has gone through both the Redevelopment Commission, Plan Commission, City Council, and now comes back to you. After approving this resolution, we'll be able to move forward with closing on that property.
Okay. Well, this is a public hearing, so we'll ask anybody if we're here, if they're here to speak for or against. All right, thank you, thanks, Terry. All right, well, hearing no public speak about it, should we give it a few more minutes, you think?
Nope.
All right, then we'll close the portion, the public hearing portion of the meeting. And we'll move right on to Resolution 2025-12-02, which authorizes the acquisition. Yeah. Vote on the public hearing? Do we?
I think so. It's a resolution.
Yeah, you vote on the resolution.
Yeah, just
Oh,
approve the
vote on
resolution, sorry.
Oh,
The
okay.
hearing is part of the
All
resolution.
right, yeah, all right, I'm sorry, I apologize. All right, well, let's have that vote then on that resolution. Yeah, I just kind of glanced over that.
George and Jeremy, just for ratification, that went through Plan Commission and Council. Was it unanimous at those levels? All right.
Yep.
I'd make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-12-1
Okay, Joe has made a motion.
as presented.
I'll second.
Jack has seconded that. Thank you. All in favor of approving the confirmatory resolution, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. It's unanimous. And now the resolution itself.
Yeah, so you've approved the plan amendment. Now resolution 2025-1202 is approving or authorizing the Redevelopment Commission to acquire the property, which will allow me to set up a purchase agreement and closing on the property, which I'm still trying to do before the end of this year.
And the price came in the average of the two appraisals?
Yes, average of the two appraisals, well, no. The price was $254,000. We had two appraisals done. That price is below the average of the two appraisals.
Okay.
Then I move we accept Resolution 2025-12-2.
Okay,
Second.
Jack.
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Joe. Joe has seconded. All in favor of approving the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Very good. Get some cheaper.
AutoCam medical purchase agreement.
Yes, so you have before you the purchase agreement for the AutoCam Medical, the property. This is the 15 acres out of the tech park. This is that agreement that was put together by our attorneys and submitted to them for their review. But it basically says we're selling the land for $1. They're going to build 100,000 square foot building, and I think the dollar amounts are in here. So constructing a building containing no less than 100,000 square feet and related other improvements, total investment of $70 million. Property employing no less than 300 employees within 5 years. So that is what they are promising to do for our disposition of the property for $1.
Are we required to put any conditions on that as far as the completion or when they get?
This does have a start date, and then it does, I guess, more or less have a completion in that they have 5 years to meet those requirements.
So that's a part of this.
Yeah,
Technically, if they didn't get started by that start date, we could.
pull the property back, yeah.
Perfect.
So there is an absolute clause in here, if they do nothing, we can take the property back.
Got it. That was really what I wanted to know. And I think I read through that they're responsible for all improvements
Yes,
as far as infrastructure, hookup fees.
Yep.
All the above.
Yep.
Do we have any extension required?
As of right
Before that
now,
happens.
not that I'm aware of, however, we still have utilities. So it's REMC, so I don't think there's any issues with electrical, but gas is NIPSCO, and we have tried to get out of them what they're doing, but NIPSCO's at a point where they won't give you any information until you file for a request in, and it's hard to file for a request until you do all these agreements. So NIPSCO is still an unknown in terms of gas.
How about RMC? I'm a little surprised about that. I didn't realize that it was RMC as far as electric. It's always been like that out there.
Yes.
In just that Curlin property side or the whole thing?
I think they service the whole area because their substation sits right on
Got
the
it.
back corner. But gas has always been NIPSCO. In the challenges we've had, I'll say challenges we've had out
Yeah.
there have been with gas,
Gas.
not electric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
I
thank
think
you.
most of what they're doing is going to require an electric, so I don't think they're going to use a lot of gas. So I'm hoping that there won't be any
Capacity issue.
capacity issues, yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, good questions, though, Joe. Any other questions about the AutoCam agreement?
I would happily make a resolution, a motion to approve resolution 2025-12.
This is just the purchase agreement. so
Oh,
we're just
you know
making
what,
a
I'm
motion.
sorry, I didn't add,
No,
I
that's all
didn't
right.
move ahead. My bad.
So you're just making a motion to approve the purchase
Approve the
agreement
Yes,
for
yes.
RK Medical.
Okay, Joe's made a motion to approve as presented.
I second it.
Bill has seconded that, thank you. All in favor of approving the purchase agreement, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I guess I'll ask, anybody nay? Okay, it's unanimous. I can hear everybody say yes, but sometimes we should ask, I guess. Now, this is kind of in the middle here, but meeting schedule.
So you have two meeting schedules, and I'll try to explain, and anything I misexplained, Whitney can clean up, but, so we have, in the past, we've always done the first and first Mondays. We now have added the third Monday, which for some months, not all months, depending on our needs, but, when we have a holiday, in the past, we've always moved the meeting to the next Monday. Because in the past, I had issues with people that could only do Monday meetings. And I know it was brought up this year about how come we don't meet the following, the Tuesday after the holiday. So there are two schedules. I'll leave that up to you as a commission, whether or not you prefer to keep it always on a Monday or prefer to just move the Monday meeting to that Tuesday. I think there's benefits to either one. If we move meeting dates on a Monday, then sometimes it doesn't necessarily make sense to have a second meeting during the month, because then it would be back-to-back meetings. So that's the two different schedules you kind of have in front of you. I'm okay either way. I just know that in the past, it's worked well to keep the day on a Monday, but we had different board members in the past, so it just kind of depends on what your preference is.
Prior to the meeting, official meeting, I was talking to Whitney about this, and one of the problems you're gonna run into is, on the first Tuesday of every month at 4 o'clock, which is the
Different
time we meet, Fire Territory meets here, and I'm on that board.
Yep.
So if you wanted to move it to a Tuesday, I could do it earlier, but I can't.
I will say most of the holidays are the second Mondays. So January, February are the second Mondays. The only Monday that's the first Monday is September, and how they fall this in 2026, it would fall on the second Tuesday. Other than that, it should be good.
So, yeah, I'm okay with keeping it to Mondays and it's just moving it to the next Monday if it's a holiday. I don't have an issue with that. Mondays tend to work well for me because then I know that I keep my Mondays clear. And then
Is there anybody else meeting in these chambers on the second Monday at 4 o'clock?
Nope.
How does this fit in with your schedule, Joe?
I'm fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think going to the Tuesday still gives us flexibility to have that second meeting, and I like that. But I know it's not always necessary either. So it doesn't matter to me, whatever, if someone can't do a Tuesday or prefers to do the following Monday, or excuse me, the next day or the following Monday, I'm good either way.
So if we do Tuesdays, then we would have to have a different time.
Just on the one meeting.
If, just on a
When
holiday
I
meeting,
looked
yeah.
at these
day.
dates were good, as of right now.
Right, but you said there was one of those holidays that would,
September,
the Tuesday would potentially be the fire territory meeting at 4.
it actually, the first is the first day, is the first Tuesday.
Oh.
So it would barely work. So it will work in 2026 going forward, I don't know.
So the way it looks now, it will not impact the fire territory meeting?
Correct.
Okay, in 2026.
Yes.
That's interesting.
I mean, I'm fine with that, just to go to the Tuesday for a year.
We can see what kind of nightmare we open.
Yeah.
And that is the Schedule B?
Yes.
Jeremy, let me ask you, for your purposes, I know you like the flexibility, timing is sometimes an issue. Which one makes more sense to you? I think that really, doesn't sound like anybody's really got a conflict.
I do.
I don't think it matters at this point for me. I can make it work either
Do
way.
you want to keep the Mondays?
How many, is it like one or two?
There's three. It
Three
would
of
be
them?
January, the second meeting in January and February, and then the first meeting in September.
Yeah, I think I'm good either way. I mean, if it makes sense just to move it to the day following, then I'm fine with that.
Let's do that.
Is everyone available?
So that's Schedule B, right? The second schedule.
Yeah, that'd be the second schedule.
Yeah, I think so. I like early in the month meetings, so get them in.
Because some of these, we may not have a conflict, 'cause we may not hold a meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So only on the second schedule, If there is a star
Star.
next to it, those are the ones that are on a Tuesday.
So the two, like a second meeting in January, second meeting in February, depending on whether we even need it, we may or may not move those to Tuesday.
Right.
The only one will be the September one. We'll definitely move that one to Tuesday. We were very busy this year, so we had a lot of second meetings. I don't know, I mean, we did 3 bond issues this year. That was part of the reason why we were so busy. I don't know. We're not doing 3 bond issues next year, I know that much. So,
Maybe
As of
ever.
today.
as of today, knock on wood. So, yeah, I think moving the meeting date to Tuesday should work, should be
Let's
fine.
try it.
So you would prove that 2026 meeting schedule, we'll call it B.
B, the second one.
Yeah.
You don't need a motion, right? Wouldn't hurt.
It wouldn't hurt to have a motion.
Good. Well,
Everyone good with that?
Yep.
I'll move that we go with Schedule B, I'll call it.
Okay, that's fine. The second one.
Second.
All right, Jack seconded that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are you and I, Joe?
Pardon me?
Are you in favor?
Oh, I'm certainly in favor.
Thank you very much. I wanted to say it was unanimous, so there you go. All right, Main Street 2025 recap. Thank you, Terry.
Yeah, so the next two are kind of commingled, but Terry Sweeney, the Main Street Coordinator, is here. He's going to give a presentation or recap of 2025, and then we'll present for your approval the 2026 agreement. Take it away, Terry.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. As Jeremy said, I'm Terry Sweeney, Downtown Development Director. The recap today is,
You might want to pull the mic closer. I know it doesn't sound loud here.
It doesn't
phone.
sound out very loud.
Okay.
does it sound okay now?
It doesn't play loud in here.
No, it
It's
doesn't.
fine, yeah.
Okay. Should I talk louder? Project?
Sure.
All right, I'll try to
Project.
project. That's why I brought the Red Bull.
There you go.
So this is a recap kind of related to the 2025 contract. And in that contract, we were charged with doing a cultural district plan, doing new marketing initiatives and events, all with an eye towards the priorities contained in the 2030 plan that we launched in the February of 2025, earlier this year. So Jeremy, if you go to the next slide. So what I kind of want to emphasize with what we've done over the last now 10 months is really taking a look at, we aspire to be a cultural district. So how do we do marketing and events that reinforce that brand of our aspirations to become a culturally focused destination? And so the downtown vision in our 2030 plan talks about culturally focused, the community's living room, aspire to be a cultural district, and then how do we attract and retain creative individuals and businesses. So I'm going to highlight 4 events that were new this year, and then talk about the cultural district plan update, and then our marketing and branding update. Okay, next. So these 4 new events that we did this year represent or span 29 event days. So almost a month worth of new programming for downtown. We'll go over first Le Dinner en Blanc Fashion Weekend, then Sip and Shop, and then our Run Walk and training program and free group fitness. Okay. So Le Dinner en Blanc took place June 12th and was paired with also our Indiana Main Street Community Exchange, which took place the next day. It featured, next slide, 4 restaurants and 1 bar that was the Falling Rabbit. And this was what we've done with this event and the next event, which is Fashion Weekend. These are ticketed events, but kind of must-have events, must-have attend. So that we were trying to really raise the bar on what we were doing with programming. That's paired with then the free events that we have that were the fitness and then the Sip and Shop. So 2 ticketed events, 2 free events. and 3-course meals, and music and dancing. And this highlights our culinary anchors, 4 of our culinary anchors who chose to participate in this event. Okay. And these are just some pictures. You can kind of go through that. It's a white-themed, attired event. Tables are put in the street. Each restaurant you made a reservation at the restaurant of your choice, and then you had their menu. And then after that, we had a live band, and then the intersection served as a dance floor. And so when we talk about what our, if we're trying to become a cultural focused district, this is the culinary anchors, the community's living room where we come together and celebrate our community, and then kind of just raising the bar on what we have as an event. Again, that was a ticketed event. We did marketing that included local print and radio, Lake City Living magazine. We're on WNDU, and we did our own social media, and then we actually got coverage from Culinary Crossroads, which is a statewide media outlet, as well as Indiana Main Street covered us. The next is Fashion Weekend, which took place October 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 3 days. It included 3 out of our 5 boutiques. The other 2 boutiques had conflicts that day. Sponsored by, our presenting sponsor was Toyota of Warsaw. We partnered with both Anthology Whiskey Room and then Wagon Wheel Center for the Arts. It took place at 110, and then there was an after party at Anthology. If you go to the next, you'll see, again, we did the same promotional emphasis. Next one will show then, we partnered with Wagon Wheel they served as the paparazzi in the actual red carpet experience that we had that took place on on Buffalo Street. And so they acted as paparazzi as people attended the event. Oh, if you could go back. And then they entered into 110, and then the fashion show took place. Again, 3 of those boutiques participated, and then the after party was at Anthology Whiskey Room. Okay, next. Then Sip and Shop, and I want to point this out right away. This is the first event, I think, that has actually taken advantage of the downtown Dora district, where the idea is come shop. The retail outlets, there were 9 of them, served complimentary wine and cheese, and you could use your Dora cup then to go in between each of the shops that were open. In addition, remember we talked about that we wanted to be a cultural district. Instead of blocking streets, we kept the streets open, and kind of the idea behind this event is let's have the event take place inside the businesses as well as giving people a reason to stroll. So then we had musicians and artists, vendors lining the sidewalks. And so if you take a look here, you'll see that, so downtown remained open, but there was a sense of strolling and taking advantage of the shops. They're open from 5 to 7, so only 2 hours. We had 5 of these events, and there was $25,000 in sales in those 2 hours for those 5 events, with just the 5 retail shops out of the 9 businesses, 5 retail shops that reported. So that's pretty significant, 2 hours. Some of them had their best nights of the year on these nights. So very, very successful. And then the group fitness and run walk, 17 weeks. It was really designed to help support the farmers market by bringing people to their doorstep. The attendance was so-so. We had 11 people participate in the run walk training program, which was for 14 weeks. And that met every Saturday as well as Wednesdays. And but it gave it the sense of community gathering, improving fitness, and again, we were trying to become the community's living room where we all gather together. So, wrap that all up. 300,000 post impressions between Main Street, social media, and all the paid social media with WNGU and Lake City Living Magazine. Give you and post impressions mean that's where someone actually clicks and does something, not just sees it. people who see it, that number is much greater. So these are the people who actually interacted. Then with the we were in 5 issues of Lake City Magazine, so in totality, that's a circulation of 18,000 households, 175 radio commercials and mentions, 33 news articles in local newspapers, and then 4 appearances on WNDU and WSBT. If we go to the next one, what's the direct economic impact? In sales, and remember that the fitness and community program, fitness and run program doesn't have sales. It's a free event. It was just there for the community. So really in the 3 events, 103,000 in sales and purchases were made. And so that benefited 18 downtown businesses and 15 musicians, artists, and instructors. And so that's kind of, I might pause for a second to see if you have any questions about that. Anything? Okay, so now that's how we start now. We just started positioning ourselves as a cultural district with new programming and how we promoted ourselves. Now we want to really say, well, what does a cultural district look like? And thanks to your support, we were able to retain Designing Local, who led through almost a 7-month process of developing this plan. We released that last, was it November 19th? I think it was November 19th. And so I know some of you were there, so we appreciate you attending, but let me just kind of go through some of the highlights of it. I remember how we got here. Not only did our 2030 plan call for we wanted to become a cultural district, but previous planning efforts also touched on how do we bring culture and arts to downtown. And so we really needed to put more meat on those bones, and so that's what this plan does. Okay. And this talks a little bit about then, as I've said before, the Main Street 2030 plan really takes these previous plans and puts them into one plan, and then we're kind of responsible for trying to implement all those plans, the priorities that pertain to downtown. And so this talks a little bit about that. So the process was, we really tried to do significant engagement. And that engagement with the public included stakeholder groups, focus groups, steering committee, one-on-one interviews, as well as then public surveys. We did 2 public surveys. And in totality, we had 600 touch points where people were able to provide input to the planning process. Okay. This is hard to read, and I'll see if I can remember what it says. What would you like to see downtown? The top 2 things on there are bringing the community together. So what's nice about that is that's one of our aspirations, and our surveying confirmed that. More opportunities for artists. That's the upper left hand, the top 2. The lower left is Festival Street and a farmer's market pavilion. And this is one of those things you'll see in the plan that was probably, they serve the same purpose, so it's one or the other. And then it is, I can't see that.
Performance art you'd like to see, live music.
Oh, yeah, sculpture garden, architectural lighting, gateways, and place painting. Those are the types of investments that they wanted to see. And then what kinds of performance? Music, up and down, and either bars or venues. And if you think about that, we leak a lot of spending to other counties that are an hour away because they can't find what they want from an entertainment perspective. And this is kind of reconfirmed in that this is what people want. Okay. The other thing is what type of art. So functional, performing, murals, sculpture, and I'm going to go down to light and architectural elements, and temporary installations. And then here's what's really important. What impact would you want art to make? And that is beautify buildings, streets, and public places, facilities, and then promote downtown as a destination. So those are top 2 things. And so the takeaway from that, you might go back up for just a sec, is really how the consultant pulled it together is justification for placemaking, guidance for public art investments, and then support for active programming. So that's kind of how then formed the basis for then how we started to put these things together. And the second survey that we did, by the way, and that was responded to by over 300 people, we took the ideas from the initial survey, which these are the results, and started to test those ideas of projects with the second survey. And so when we start to present now what our projects are, it's really, we already tested them with the public before we went forward with it. Okay. That's our vision statement. And we just kind of go through there. So we kind of divide the projects into a couple things, three things. Transformative, which are larger scale, higher impact. Incrementals, a little bit smaller, still impactful, but not as expensive. And then amplify, which are more programmatic and leveraging our existing assets. And then we wanted to reemphasize our goals, and that is make sure that downtown becomes a cultural destination, grow the creative economy, and then how do we use placemaking to create a dynamic and cohesive downtown. And so with that, we also then tried to score each of the projects that were being proposed by, does it activate, does it beautify, and does it connect? And here's the thing that I think is really important, that instead of creating a series of projects of, hey, here's a series of projects, what is the strategy or how does it fit together? So we started thinking about it as corridors. And so how can we create corridors that link our assets and our anchors together and not just say, okay, here's a whole bunch of things. And so you'll see that here as we go forward. So transformative projects. Number one is in the heart, right next to the courthouse in the purple, and that is a festival street. Number two is the art space. No, Buffalo Trot. So that is the link. This idea of a corridor is an art trail leading from Center Lake down to a future sculpture park. So linking north downtown with south downtown with light and art. And I think that's it. So now I'll show you a little more detail. And then the art space, which we'll go into detail. Buffalo Street, again, is a programmable pedestrian-oriented street that would function as a street during normal business hours, but in the evening or on weekends when there's programming, can be closed off and easily programmed. Might include a stage. It would help these businesses that are adjacent because right now the sidewalks are very uneven. It's hard to have any sidewalk cafe seating. So it will have an immediate impact of improving their business opportunities and revenue, as well as, again, creating a community gathering space. Art space. So this is, we talked about also earlier as a vision, historic preservation. Here's a county-owned property that is not being utilized or is underutilized, that there is some demand from art organizations that are, I call nomadic, that don't have a permanent place to perform and or rehearse, as well as artists. And we also have in this space, we're proposing a culinary kitchen that might be a commissary for food entrepreneurs or food trucks. And so it becomes a real center of art. This is the Buffalo Trot, just a look of what it might be with sculptures and lighting. And again, that's the connecting tissue between the sculpture park and Center Lake. And then there's a Gateway Sculpture Park. This idea of if you saw earlier, they talked about we want to see interactive art. We also hear from people that say there's nothing for kids to do downtown. This then serves both of those purposes. And then this is branded or artistic gateways. Heard about that in the survey is how do we beautify downtown with wayfinding, and can we do it in a certain way that helps reinforce that cultural district feel? Okay, incremental projects. So again, smaller scale, so there's more of them. And I didn't point out it in the first map, but I'll do it here. The blue dotted line is recognition of the proposed Market Street Trail, still being talked about, but hasn't moved forward yet. But we wanted to make sure that people were aware of that. The green dotted line is actually what we're calling the cultural corridor that links the literal front door, that being Wagon Wheel, and the living room, that being downtown. And how can we kind of link those two physically and visually, much similar to the Buffalo Street Art Trail, but maybe not in the exact same way. So that shows you some of the incremental ones, and we'll go through them real quick here. Here's something we'll talk about later as well. So as you think about new projects, asking the developer, especially if they receive incentives, to integrate art into their projects, really important. Easy, that's a low-hanging fruit. Your corridor mural program, next. Alleyway activation, we see this as a real opportunity, two places, because we pushed past the map. I want to just bring them, highlight them. So we want to have discussions further with Lake City Bank, and the alley that connects their buildings is a way to tell their story historically. As a downtown anchor and an anchor for the community, how do we outwardly tell some of the history of our businesses? And that's a great way to do that. And then with the proposed garage, that will become a county-owned garage, will become a corridor. That alley will become a corridor into the courthouse square. And how do we make that more of an alley activation where their employees and the visitors that come into the garage will feel comfortable coming into the courthouse square? So those are just two. Creative crosswalks, pretty self-explanatory. Electrical boxes, these are, again, pretty easy to implement, but again, begin to sprinkle throughout the district. And then the amplified projects are again, just more subtle and lower scale. Okay. Next. Architectural lighting. Here we show just LED, but it's also important to remember we refer to architectural lighting. How do we highlight the architecture we have? This takes advantage of some of the technology that's out there to be more artistic, but don't forget we have really good architecture. Sidewalk cafes. You know, we do have some challenges that people will talk about with landscaping. So with a new garage, is there a way that we can, in the more immediate future, help these businesses by expanding their opportunities for sidewalk cafe seating, and again, become the community's living room and create another amenity for visitors. This is now rotating art that might be located on the Buffalo Street, Buffalo Trot wayfinding. Very important as we move forward with trying to brand downtown and position it the way we wish. And then this just shows all the projects together and how they link. And then the corridors that we talked about, north to south, east to west. Okay, so how do you fund this stuff? We also identify different funding opportunities, two of which I think are pertinent here to the commission. And that is, one, the percent for art in public projects. Those are the projects that receive incentives. And then in other cities, they do use TIF dollars to implement some of these projects. But we identify other ones. Okay, so that then takes us to the cultural district plan. We have that out. We've gone through a parallel process in the last 60 days of branding, and again, a stakeholder engagement process with that. We have just approved the downtown brand at the last Main Street meeting. You have copies of that in your packet. We'll look to roll that out upon completion of the new website. We're in process of developing content as well as engaging the web designer now. And what that'll do is we'll take our website currently that is really Main Street forward and destination secondary, and flip that so that we talk mostly about the destination, what you'll find there, and why you would want to come to downtown. And then if you want to know about the programs and services we offer, you can find out about that, but that'll be more as a secondary message. Any questions?
Good presentation. Anybody have any questions about the recap presentation before we?
I think there's always been discussion on what a great palette we have in this community for our downtown. And had a lot of people volunteer, work hard, invest, elbow grease. And I'm really gratified we're at a point where it's kind of coming together. I know these are ambitious projects. There's a lot of them. It's not as easy as it looks on a pretty picture. I found that out.
Yeah.
But I think the direction is great. And I know that the Redevelopment Commission is certainly supportive of this, and at least I'll speak for myself, but I'm very impressed. The work you've done, Terry, since you've started in your position. We know we've needed someone like that, professional, to get this thing off the ground, and it's at a point where now it's time to giddy up, and I'm really excited about it. This is well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know there's a lot of questions, but I think again, the palette, the blueprint, it's all there, and now it's moving ahead.
Well, thanks, well said. Anybody else with a comment about the recap presentation or questions for Terry? Or questions for Rob Parker out there in the chamber? We ask you questions.
Does, just to catch up, does Main Street, Okra Main Street, are they involved in this?
Yeah.
I know they've been kind of an early guiding force to creating a Main Street, and I know this goes beyond that, but I'm just
Yeah.
curious if there's any involvement with the Main Street organization.
So once right now we're going through a process where we are an aspiring Main Street. When we become an Indiana Main Street, there are some limited grant opportunities and additional expertise services that they provide that we become eligible for. But I will tell you a couple things that we have made a presentation about our planning process.
Can I
Yeah.
correct just, we are a Main Street
Yeah,
today.
right.
We are in the aspiring accredited Main Street.
Yeah.
So it's the next step up.
Yes.
So we are Main Street today, fully approved from Okra
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
So just want to make sure
Yeah.
that's clear.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But we hosted a community exchange where we talked about our process of the 2030 plan, our new events, and our cultural district planning process at that time. We had just launched it. And then we appeared at, Jeremy, myself, and Susie were at the Preserving Historic Places Conference and presented an update on that. So Main Street's at least aware of what we're doing pretty well. In addition, when we were down for receiving the Indiana Chamber Community of the Year Award, we also participated in the 40th anniversary of Main Street, the program, the state program, and were recognized at that ceremony at the State House. In addition, Susie Light and I met with the coordinator for the Indiana Arts Commission, who is now, when they reboot this program in 2026, who will be managing the Indiana Cultural District designation process. So we've tried to stay really engaged with the state, with Main Street, part of Okra, as well as with the Indiana Arts Commission.
You also mentioned historic preservation. I visited a lot of small towns in the state and actually had a good discussion today down in Peru about their efforts. And just curious, the First Christian Church, for example, I love that idea. That is part of our skyline, and we need to keep it. I love the idea. Is there historic preservation component to this cultural district, and have we made contact with the Indiana Historical Preservation Group?
Yeah, so a couple things. When I first started, I made contact with John Ziegler, who's the Indiana Landmarks northern person. And I've worked with Marsh Davis and Mark DeLossi at Indiana Landmarks for many years. And then I also touched base with Steve Kennedy, who's also manages, I forget his title exactly, but he's with Indiana Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation. So they're aware of what we're looking at trying to do. Both of those folks have indicated that this would be a tax credit project.
Environment.
You could do a
Yeah.
tax credit project on this. And it will be in that price range where it makes sense. You know, what they'll talk to you about when you do the tax credit is there's a lot of brain damage you have to go through. So you can't do it for a $500,000 project. It's got to be a project because you have to spread those costs. There's just a lot of documentation. And then some of the other things that small towns across the state and country have done is we're a National Register district. That's an honorary designation. It provides no local protection. And so if you want local protection where you have a commission such as yours that would oversee some decisions, you need a locally designated commission.
Is that a state designation or a federal designation?
The federal, that's a National Register is a federal. This would be local, that would be city. So there's a process you have to go through, involve stakeholders, council and things, but you can create a locally designated district. But then depends what you want to do, but people have to come before the commission before they do certain things. Some things would be staff approval, some things would be commission approval. The other thing that you could do that's an interim step is a conservation district. So that's a locally protected, has some protections, not the same as a locally designated district, but some some cities have a conservation district.
Okay, thank you.
If you don't have any other questions, we can go on and present the agreement for services for 2026. So this is the Warsaw Community Development Corporation doing business as Main Street. Much like last year, we approved a contract with them. This year, they're presenting a contract for 2026 in the amount of $81,500, and I think $2,500 more than last year. Yeah, so just a little bit of an increase, or $2,000 more than last year. And we will work with them on a number of events and marketing and other promotional throughout the year and additional projects.
And the agreement's pretty much the same, except
Yep.
changes, yeah. Anybody have any questions about the agreement for 2026? Main Street, Warsaw?
Does it have to go to council too?
No, so this is going to be paid out of Redevelopment Commission and be our northern TIF district, which is now like half of Warsaw. We won't say that out loud, but so a lot of this goes back, and obviously Mike and Jack and Joe, a lot of what we're doing is finally getting to some of those segments in our the council's strategic plan that dealt with downtown. It took us a while to get here, but we're starting to. The reason I know this is because I was looking back on it because we're looking to do another strategic plan for the council through Jeff, and it's amazing when we look back at what we've accomplished within that strategic plan, and some of the things we haven't, and a lot of the downtown stuff we struggled with. I think Joe's last kind of effort in trying to achieve some of those goals you guys set out was rebooting the Hyatt Palma study, which has led us to this next phase. So we're just trying to keep that ball rolling. We've got a lot of projects, and you'll see the next contract is kind of a beginning phase to look at the Festival Street. Yes, there's a lot of money that would have to be found, but we can't find the money until we know what we're looking for. So there's a lot of groundwork that needs to be done. What Main Street has done this year is laid a lot of groundwork for us. So now we have to start taking that work and start making it come to reality. And it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. But we've got a pretty good start here and a lot of good things that came out of the plan, the strategic plan as well as the cultural district plan. And we need to start figuring out how we start putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
I think the funding seems very reasonable to me. It's kind of evolved, it started with just kind of give us a hand with First Friday, then we're developing the farmer's market, and now we want to promote our businesses, and now we need to take the high diploma study and push it forward. We need someone to lead that effort, and that's how those funds were used from the city, rather than just, much more on development as well as events.
We call it marketing.
Pardon me?
Call it marketing.
Whatever you want to call it, it seems to be working. I think the Redevelopment Commission's a very appropriate spot for these funds, given what the potential is to achieve and all the work we've done to get here. I'm certainly supportive of this.
Well, I will entertain a motion if we're done discussing this. Make a motion. Okay, Bill's made a motion, thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, Jack has seconded. All in favor of approving the 2026 agreement with Main Street Warsaw, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye?
It's unanimous. All right, thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah. Yeah, come on out.
It won't take but a second, but I do want to get this on the record. First and foremost, I want to thank former Mayor Joe, Mayor Jeff. I want to thank you guys. I want to thank the council for making this, the funding available so that we could hire Terry, so we could have what we have in front of us. That wouldn't have happened without leadership, wouldn't have happened without dollars. So on behalf of the Kosciuszko Chamber of Commerce, Main Street Warsaw, I just want to say thank you so much for allowing us to do that and continuing to grow our downtown. We think it's vital to the future of our community that the downtown is the maximum capacity that it can be for people to attract and retain, or to attract and retain talent. So again, thank you so much to you. And I also want to say thank you to the board at the Kosciuszko Chamber, because they put in a lot of money into Main Street, and then Main Street also put in. So there was really three funders that got us to the point where we're at today to have Terry. So thank you so much for all you do. Thank you for helping to push our organization to be better. And we like that partnership with the city. And again, we want to make this the best, can I cuss? Darn city in the state. So I would say other words, but I do appreciate your guys' support. So I did want to say thank you for that.
Thank you, that means a lot coming from, you've done an excellent job and your board has done a good job. So we've got we voted for that, and,
Yeah, so the last contract you have is for Anderson Bolander for the Festival Street contract. So this is kind of the beginning stages. Obviously, we did the strategic plan. Terry did the strategic plan. He did the cultural district plan. One of the things that came out of that cultural district plan was the potential for a Festival Street. So this is the very beginning of exploring what that looks like and what that might become. This initial contract will do two things. It will work with the community to figure out what that concept looks like, what we'd like to see as a community for our Festival Street, and then it will start to come up with what that cost is, so that we can explore the feasibility of doing some of those concepts. It will prepare us, and I've kind of prefaced this with some people. Obviously, there is some expense to doing a project of this size, but there is also some money out there that this prepares us to potentially go after to make it more feasible. So Some of you remember the Ready 2.0, and Lilly had given like 250 million towards art. So the intent here is to be prepared to maybe be able to go after some of those funds.
Who would do that?
It'd be
Who would
it
pursue
would
those?
it would
those
be us in
possible
conjunction
grants?
with Main Street.
Everybody, the chamber, Terry's office, us?
It would have to be a landing spot, so it would most likely be the city would go after those funds,
Yeah, typically
but in
those
conjunction
grants are
with Terry. and-
Applied through the local unit.
Yeah, it has to have
Yeah.
Yeah.
and maybe Main Street could be an applicant, I don't know, but most likely it'd be the city would be the applicant, any grant funds.
Okay.
Terry's value obviously is his ability to focus on Main Street and downtown, which is what came out of the Hyatt Palma study, is getting someone who has that ability to focus on that. Wake up in the morning thinking about it, go to sleep at night thinking about it, because we have a lot of employees, but I've got a lot of different things I got to think about. And
Which is why I asked the question, because when you're
so we
applying
would be
for all these
we would be
grants,
the
that's
applicant,
almost a
but
full-time job.
well, yes, but we're a lot of times we're the applicant, but we have people that are working on our behalf
Okay.
to do those. Terry is that person that would be.
Mike, I think
kinda
that's what I was alluding to earlier on. You know, Rob and I were trying to figure out, you know, we each had our own jobs, but we need someone to promote and to be, you know, to be the quarterback on things, and that's what Terry's role is.
Which is why I think what we just did is money well spent.
Well, obviously, and now he's got some plays to start running.
Yeah, so this is just kind of that first look at something that came out of the cultural district plan, what people wanted to see. So we're going to explore those options and see where they lead.
I would say this location and this use has been contemplated for a long time. I know when we went up to Valpo to look at their skating rink up there, they have this exact, very similar type of amenity downtown, and they just close that street off. It's right there between their performing center and their outdoor performing center, the Orville Redenbacher Center, and their very large, beautiful skating rink. It's right in the middle there on that road, and they'll close it down. When I saw this project, that's the first thing it reminded me of. And I know we had talked, we worked with Path Street Department to get some tent anchors put in there, just as, again, kind of this is where we want this to be. So I think this is I wasn't surprised when this project was kind of listed as one of the top, because I think it's always been contemplated and thought about, especially with the business investment down in that area, the Dora, the whole, I mean, it fits. So what do we need to do, Jeremy?
You just need to make a motion to approve this contract if you so choose to, and we'll get to work on that kind of first step in the Festival Street.
Well, I would certainly make that motion.
All right, Joe's made a motion to approve the agreement, contract, festivals contract. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right, Mike has seconded that, thank you. All in favor of approving the Festival Street contract signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, it was unanimous, so approval of claims.
So yeah, we have some claims. It's like kind of, some of this is the end of the year, so we have quite a few bond payments on here, so outside of our normal expenditures, but you see the 20301 for Marsh, Sinipsco, Fenn Brown, 1974462 is for County Road 300 North. Fenn Brown, 8,477.32 is for 200 North Turn Lane Project. Pulver Asphalting, 227,254.81 is for Petro Drive. Kosciuszko County Recorders for Husky Trail annexation, recording that annexation. Warsaw Community Development Agreement, 13,142.85 was part of a Main Street, or a payment as part of the Main Street 2025 agreement. The two U.S. UPS, or had to do with the Millworks bond closing, just sending those documents. Public notice for the annexation from Times Union, 11441, Barnes and Thornburg, 7,518.50 is for Marsh and the Polk and AutoCam projects. My cell phone allowance, 120. Next year's redevelopment members bond, 500 for Liberty Mutual. And then we've got a lot of bond fees and then bond payments. So $12.50 for annual fee for Gacky, $250 for annual fee for Buffalo Street, $61,081.25 for Warsaw Commons bond, $142,302.50 for Wynonna PBD 1, $56,437.50 for Wynonna PBD 2, $27,937.50 for Wynonna PBD 3, $83,500 for the Buffalo Street bond, $195,000 for the Airport Industrial Park bond, $76,066 for the Marketplace bond, $75,987.50 for the GAC, $44,490.25. This is for the new Bella Augusta bond we did this year, and then our last $42,000 lease payment for West Hill. We did add on our transfers. So this is our sewage bond pledge of $300,000 that goes to the Bank of New York, Mellon. But so every year the Northern Tiff pledges $600,000 towards the sewage bond in 2 payments. So this will be the $300,000 is the second payment for this year.
Any questions about the claims that have been presented?
I'd make a motion to approve.
Okay, Bill's made a motion to approve the claims as presented. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, Jack has seconded that. All in favor of approving the claims?
Aye.
Aye. Those against, say nay. It's unanimous. Let's see, next meeting, December 15th, if we have it,
Probably not, but I will never say never.
just in case.
I will be on vacation, so if I do have a meeting, I'll have to come back from my vacation.
Well,
so we'll
yeah.
see.
And that ain't gonna happen? Is that what you're saying?
It's not gonna happen until it happens, let's put it that way. I'm not gonna make something up to put on the meeting, but if I can't get something closed or something done or some document needs to be signed, then we'll have a meeting.
It doesn't need to be done.
Actually, Whitney ran a very good job when you were gone last time, I just want to say.
I'm sure she did. There's no reason why I wouldn't think that
I
she
thought the
would.
last meeting went extremely well too without you here, George.
Shouldn't say that. All right, well, any other business coming before the board?
If
all
not,
I
I'll
got.
make a motion.
It's been a good year. Thanks, Jeremy.
We have a
Thanks to
motion to
everybody.
adjourn. We have a
What
second.
Wow.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
You know, Jeremy, not to be lost in all this discussion about downtown, but the AutoCam building is huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And I know it seemed just like boom, boom, done, next, moving along in the agenda, but that's special.
Yeah, yeah.
Exciting,
And-
100,000 square foot, that's a big building.
And they've already started work on it.
Yep,
so.
the pad is done.
Have they
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of a mute point for us to
Yeah.
even say, hey, have they started? Well, they've already started construction.
They-
you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really neat,
Exciting.
yeah.
Yes, no, we've,
Good point, Joe.
All right, well, this meeting's adjourned, we can still talk.
Oh, yeah.
That's what got me involved.
Sign the paper.
Rolling.
Thanks again, Rob, for coming to the meeting.
Thank you. And we would have never got here